Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
Say no worry about a thing. You'll never get a thing. It's gonna be alright.
Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. And I'm actually joined in a virtual room filled with none of the Lions, but I've got a guest Lion, and that is Bertram. And I am very grateful to have you on. So I'm going to ask you straight away. First, welcome to the show, but we've got to have a highlight from the weekend.
A highlight from the weekend, of course. I think, seeing as we didn't even play on the weekend, that was almost a highlight in itself. But if I had to choose one, can I cheat a bit and put the game in as well?
Yeah, of course you can. Long weekend.
Is it a highlight from the game?
Okay.
Is it the highlight from the game or just general?
Just general.
Just in general. Oh well, I suppose. Let me think back. I had my own game as well. I'm a goalkeeper, so I got a clean sheet in a friendly. Very happy.
Okay.
Didn't have to do too much, but preseason and that, getting it through. So taking my best Petrovic impression and putting it on the fields in Denmark. So very happy with that.
Awesome. And trust me, some listeners will have picked up on when you said Denmark there. Yes, as soon as I was told by Ollie about the Danish connection, I was like, I'm so excited. I was so excited because of my own Danish connections, which...
You have Danish connections?
Yes, I did DNA stuff like a few months ago in a family tree, and I found out that I've got just over 50% Danish DNA, and I've got like on my dad's side Danish heritage, and I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, I'm a big
fair play.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Highlights though from the weekend. I had two. I'm going to lead with the Ivory Coast. I mean, that's the fairy tale. They lifted the AFCON in their own country after firing their manager in the group stage, and Sebastian Haller coming back from cancer to score the winner for his country. That is poetry. They say you can't script football. If you could, you would have picked that, because it was beautiful that it all came together as it did. It was a good game as well, to be honest, the final.
Yeah, and AFCON as well in general has been great to watch. It's been tough to predict as well. So I think the fairy tale ending with, as you touched upon, Haller as well, coming back from cancer to score the winning goal, all good. And Drogba as well, with our Chelsea connection. Happy to see him smile in the stands.
Oh my word. They kept showing Drogba and Kanu and just be going, no, look, which one's going to be? It's probably going to be Drogba. It's probably. But
thankfully as well.
Yeah, for us, for the blue side, 100%. And hey, there's some listeners, they're going to expect it. Yeah, my own personal highlight was the Super Bowl. Awesome game. Niners lost, so I'm a happy Seattle fan. Usher, that was a fire halftime show. I enjoyed that. There was even, I've looked at all the ads that were on. Beyonce's Verizon ad was probably the best in my opinion, but don't know if you're an NFL fan yourself.
I'm not, but I did watch it as well. I think
nice.
Even though it's not my general cup of tea, I think it's impressive the spectacle they put on. It's very different from football as well, in a way that the ads they run and stuff. All the constant breaks, but just the spectacle the Americans are able to put on, and I didn't really know who to root for, so it might go against your Seattle. I rooted for the 49ers because I heard something about they had like a young, lowest drafted quarterback, and I thought that'd be quite a cool story.
Oh, for sure, with Purdy, for sure. I thought, if because it's one of them awful situations for me. It's like, if the Niners win, I'm going to be like, a bit down on it. So I had a bet on that they'd win with McCaffrey getting the most rushing yards, and part of that came true. The other half, not so. But hey, it doesn't matter. Right. we will hit some news and game reviews.
Let's go.
Right, and there's a quick fire piece of news that just putting out there. Chelsea have been drawn in the women's team, have been drawn against Man City in the League Cup semi-final. Damn. Hey, if they want to be the best, they got to beat the best. And the best is right now is Chelsea. So I feel like we could be looking at the League Cup final being played in the semi-final because of how strong both sides are. And I also saw that in the FA Cup, we've got Everton. So I was like, one favourable draw, one absolute colossal huge tie for the semi-final though for the League Cup. So yeah, that's going to be so tough. I'm not going to pretend it's not going to be, but hey, got to win to win.
But I suppose
in
a way now when we're top of the WSL, meeting, us being in form as well. I think we have them next in the league, right? City.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we hopefully take some momentum from the Crystal Palace win as well, and push towards if we beat them in the league, obviously push make the distance at the top bigger, might beat them in the semifinal as well, and really push for maybe even a domestic treble as it looks like right now.
Yeah, it's the final game before the international break, so you definitely want to beat City and go into the break the happier the two teams, that's for certain. And the margins are so fine when it comes to WSL titles. So if they were to win, they would obviously draw level with us on 34 points. And we don't want that. We don't want that at all. But a double game review. It's a double Palace game review, actually, because we head to Kingsmeadow. And here is that match report. Emma Hayes made significant changes to the lineup, rotating 10 players from the League Cup quarter-final for our game against Palace in the FA Cup. The backline saw Hannah Hampton return in goal, supported by a defensive quartet of Ashley Lawrence, Jess Carter, Natalie Bjorn and captain Niamh Charles. In midfield we had Erin Cuthbert and Melanie Lupols forming the anchor, while Joanna Wrighton-Canarid, Fran Kirby and Gura Wrighton bolstered the attacking front alongside Myra Ramirez. She was making only her second start for Chelsea. A late alteration saw Kirby replacing Lauren James just before the kickoff. Under the radiant Kingsmeadow sun, it was a lovely backdrop. The match kicked off with the visiting Palace supporters energetically backing their team, but despite an early booking for Palace's Amy Everett, the opening exchanges were quite subdued. Both teams struggled to carve out clear-cut chances, with Ramirez's header attempt was just off target and Bjorn's long-range effort just sailing over the bar. Into the second half we go, and we saw Palace maintain that defensive resilience, the low block that we all are afraid of. It just frustrated us. Our attempts to break that deadlock just consistently being stopped. However, as the game progressed, Chelsea began to just get that bit of dominance. Jess Carter's header rattled the crossbar. Ramirez forced a save from Palace's keeper Lambourne. Just wasn't though until the final 10 minutes that Chelsea finally got that breakthrough, with Ramirez displaying exquisite improvisation to score a spectacular backheel goal, reminiscent of another FA Cup goal for a Chelsea team, which was Zola, and it was from Lawrence's low cross. And despite several late chances to extend our lead, including Lupols, who had a deflective effort hitting the post, we didn't score, but we secured that hard-fought 1-0 victory. We advance into the next round of the cup competition, and that is the main thing. So Chelsea won, Crystal Palace 0. It was one moment of pure magic that decided this cup tie. I'll kick off my thoughts with a bit of a negative, because I kind of felt that our performances in the early stages of games this season, particularly after this winter break, they kind of been alarmingly lackluster. The usual energy I expect is kind of missing. But we do often recover. But I kind of imagine, like, for a moment, if we deliver a similar display against like the elite teams like Barcelona or Lyon, Barcelona obviously potentially in the Champions League, I think we'd be done by half time, because you can't start slow against top teams. They will punish you. So that's a worry for me. I don't know if you've noticed the similar.
Well, I think I've definitely noticed lack of clinicality, and maybe being as you've said, slow to get out of from the get-go. I think in general it might just be some of I think you'd need to, in a way, us being top of the league as well, you might coast to some results and just by being not mediocre, but maybe by playing with 80-85%. I do think you're right, though. It did take, we were completely dominant against Palace as well, but it did take a moment of genius after 80 minutes to break through. So you would hope that it's something they're working on, and just speaking on Friday, I know this is not maybe a preview, but you would hope that they're spending the week and being prepared to go all out from the first minute against City as well.
Yeah, I mean the positives from the game. Myra Ramirez, clearly she'd been watching the Gianfranco Zola skills and goals montages pre-game, because that backheel flick was not only world class, but to do it in the 80th minute when we needed a breakthrough, that's coming up clutch, and
to kick it up in the air as well, not just across the ground as well.
I know, and that I feel like she stamped down an early tease of what we can expect from her time at Chelsea. I'll put you on the spot here. Zola versus Norwich or Ramirez versus Palace? Which was the better FA Cup backheel goal?
Oh, well, the thing is, I think almost the thing with Zola is it's fizzed in. So, he has to time it right. But if he times it, he doesn't, the ball's coming with such a pace that he almost just has to direct it in, where Myra Ramirez in a way almost has to put the power behind it. So I think I would probably, just because it is a classic, go with Zola, but that doesn't mean Myra Ramirez was very, very impressive.
That's fair. I think it's because I look back and think, well, we won that one 4-0. This one was 1-0. We had to, but yeah, I think a bit of nostalgia sort of just edges it for Zola. He's probably just edged it for me. There was a negative at the start when Lauren James was sent home from the squad. That was a bit of a surprise, but apparently that Emma had said that it was addressed, and that was purely down to sickness and nothing else. I had heard some people say about she'd pulled up, but apparently it was a sickness. Hopefully she'll be back for Friday, because definitely going to need her. One thing I noticed from the game, the commentary decided to do a sponsored silence for periods of the game, because towards the end it felt like a good five minutes of silence before just one of them said 8 minutes of additional time. And another FA Cup conclusion, Arsenal being knocked out by City. I mean, it's no shame, but I looked at their head-to-head record, and since September of 2021, they have played one another 6 times, and Arsenal have won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. Breaking that streak it's not a good time to do it, but hey, we'll sit here in the cup. I wouldn't be shocked if, based on how the draw goes, of course, you never know, but I wouldn't be shocked if we end up against City in the final again, because we're the best 2 teams. That's the thing.
Exactly. But in a way, I think sometimes that will, especially with this, current Chelsea team, the fact that they're almost, mentality monsters, that if they get put in a situation where, not that we're underdogs in a way, but they know in their minds they have to give, 100% to win. If we've been drawn against, one of the lesser teams, if we had, our draw now Everton in the final, it would be a different dynamic. Maybe it would have been easier, but maybe they would have performed better as well. So I think for this current crop of Chelsea players, it would almost, because we usually fare quite well in big games.
Yeah, I mean, based on all the cup draws, all the bigger teams, because obviously based on the current top 4 in the WSL is United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea. Well, obviously Arsenal have beaten City. Sorry, City have beaten Arsenal, and they all in the quarterfinals. You've got Chelsea are drawn away, United have been drawn away, and so have City drawn away. So not easy for any of them teams, especially when you're away from home. But hey, we'll see how that plays out. That's the 10th of March. Those ties play out. So we move to and I can't believe it's a double positive, but the match report, which I've decided is sponsored by Three Little Birds, because it ended Palace 1, Chelsea 3. We came from behind to climb back up into that top half. The scoreline doesn't tell the full story at all. I'm not going to pretend it does. But hey, look, I've got my first winner, and I've got some of the other hosts' winners on my screen at the moment, but I'll go with my first one, and that was Conor Gallagher. And it does mean I've got a new noise to drop. Oh, yes, that noise means I've awarded Conor Gallagher with my stat drop of the episode: 72 touches, 44 passes, 7 crosses, 4 touches in the opposition box, 3 shots, 3 fouls won, 3 chances created, 2 interceptions, 2 shots, 2 goals. What a game from him. What a game.
Well, I think, yeah, the thing about Gallagher is it's not always, because when you watch him, you think he's not the type of player when you just watch him and you're in awe and you think, my goodness, he's just sprawling with confidence or dazzling with technical ability. But I think yesterday just proved that in games like this, he provides something that most other midfielders don't, and something we've been longing for a long time. Those late runs into the box, late runs to the edge of the box as well, and just being decisive in a way.
Yeah.
Which I think is very impressive and speaks to his character as well. After a tough first half, coming out, start second half, smashing it in. I think as you've touched upon, massive winner for yesterday as well. Also, just getting the videos of him and Gilchrist running out to the fans. It just warms your heart as a Chelsea fan, really.
Yeah, 100%. And he's on Ollie's winners list as well. And he put Brace, of course, give him a new contract. He's earned every penny. Yeah, that's going to rumble. That is going to be a news topic till the end of May in the off season. It's going to be there until he signs or he's sold. But I just feel you have to. It would just be such a poor look and just a tragedy if he's sold. He wants to stay. It's clear he wants to stay. He loves the club. It's irrelevant. I hear the argument of would he get into the team of 10 years ago? It's irrelevant. He gets into the team now. That's what we've got to look at. We can't live in the past with him. It's irrelevant of whether he'd have been good then or not. Right now, he's one of our key players. I just really hope he signs that contract. Our ownership have got to do the right thing here.
Yeah, and I think in a way, Conor Gallagher has also, kind of been the poster boy of both, our difficult last 2 seasons, but also, dividing the fan base with a large part wanting him to sign a new contract, a large part, not wanting him to sign a contract. And, they're kind of switching, game by game. And I think the thing is, it's not as nuanced, the debate, as it probably should be, because by offering him a new contract, it's not the same thing as saying, okay, in this contract, it says you have to start every game. I think it's clear to, most people this season that he is a decisive player for us. And, if we sign him on, it doesn't always have to mean that, maybe he doesn't play in our best team. Maybe he doesn't play when we go away to the Etihad, or if we have a title decider in a couple of years against Liverpool. But you can't deny the fact that he's a player that has some qualities that, not many other players in our squad, maybe even the league has, in terms of pressing. I think you look at the goals from midfield, we've seen Enzo add it, but, he also began scoring a little bit last season. So I think, as you've touched upon as well, undeniably, we need to give him a new contract. Also, just he's in a way our new poster boy for the academy as well. Now that Mace has left,
100%. My second winner was the comeback itself. I mean, that was the first game that Chelsea have won when being behind at halftime in 3 years. Another fun yeah, apparently so.
Second time.
At half time, yeah. It's like, it's not. I know we've had a really good unbeaten streak of going in at half time 0-0 or 1-1 or, level or winning. So that could probably skewer the stat in one way. But here's another fun stat. Conor Gallagher is the first Chelsea player to score a 90th minute winner in the Premier League since Conor Gallagher against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park in October of 2022. Hey.
Conor Gallagher at Selhurst Park. What happens? Also last season as well, and the season before.
Yeah, it's wild. It's hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. Ollie's next up winner, he got Malo Gusto, and he put the great presence, movement, energy, and defending throughout. He's got that dog in him too. That's for you, Beth. I mean, he was good. Gusto is again. We worried when Reece James went out again injured for a long period of time. Gusto's been what a signing. What a signing.
Exactly. And there's also a stat that says something, I think, is it perhaps 11 chances he's created in the Premier League or something, which is crazy for a right back who doesn't even start all games. And, him being 20 years old as well in his debut season, which, he almost has the whole package. I often think back to that tweet Felix did, which I don't think it was his own opinion. I think it was a Leon fan that had written to him when he said he was a 5 out of 10, very overrated, terrible defensively. And you look at him, did we get the same player? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at Leon now as well, you can sort of see as a collective, they weren't in the best of form, and they're slowly picking up pace now. But yeah, I think Gusto was just unfortunate in that team. But he's on my honourable mentions. He had a wonderful game. I was really, really happy with his performance, and yeah.
Could I add a quick winner as well?
Of course you can. Go for it.
I think we need to give a massive shout out to the Palace DJ, to be honest.
Yes.
For trying to put the Three Little Birds on. My understanding of it, as a non-match going fan for obvious reasons, is that it was just in a way quite random. He put it on. It's not like a Chelsea thing to sing Three Little Birds.
Yeah,
that's correct. So in a way, I think it was a fun thing, and we sang it. And we've all seen the Twitter videos and stuff. But in a way, you never know. It could bring us together, because next home game we have it seems like a couple of months almost, with the Carling Cup final, and if they play that, Conor Gallagher even said it yesterday, it might be our song to move forward. So if we get a couple wins, it could be the anthem for it. You never know. I've heard worse tunes.
Yeah, 100%.
So shout out to the Palace DJ for that.
Yeah, for sure. The next winner I've got is Axel Disasi's crowd surfing, because Disasi was Ollie's final winner as well, and he struggled at first, but he grew into the game, was a massive presence by the end, and he's my winner because I just loved the energy, I loved his fire, his desire, and I'm sure he'll get a visit from the Sky Sports Celebration Police sometime this week. But this dude he could for me fill the energy void that we lost when Rudiger departed. There's only, obviously, if he does, there's only one thing he's missing, and it's just taking wild shots from way out, because why not? But what a game he had! What a game!
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing with Disasi as well is he's almost in a weird way, because he's been ridiculed a lot, especially at the start of the season. But he's almost the kind of the type of signing that we almost should right now be looking to add to the squad. Perhaps a 25, 26-year-old. I think he's around that age gap. Because when we look at him, he's never injured. He constantly puts in 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10 performances. Is able to deputize his right back as well, even though we'd rather see Malo Gusto. So I think the fact that he's very consistent, and he's the greatest hype man perhaps we've seen for a long time. His celebrations are something that warms my heart. I think he did it yesterday when he was 5 rows in. And as well, he's done it a couple of times when he's gone absolutely crazy. I think we might be 10th, but I've never seen as good celebrations from a Chelsea team as this time around. Nicholas Jackson as well, running the length of the pitch.
That's the thing. I mean, he got booked as well for that. I was like, no, 9 bookings.
Of course
now.
He did.
I was like, not great. But yeah, you touched on his injury history, and it says here 21-22. He was out with COVID for 2 games for Monaco, and 23-24 he had a muscle injury last year, which missed 2 international games for France. So yeah, thankfully he's been quite good with the fitness levels. My final winner is Petr Cech. I've got to hand him some flowers, to easily the greatest goalkeeper in Premier League history. His appearance on Monday Night Football was just refreshing. We all want to see some more former Blues on Sky Sports to fight for our corner. And he brought a touch of class, I felt, to the analyst game. And yeah, I feel like we need him on more, because usually the watchers of Sky Sports in general will notice we usually get the same. We only ever get Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who is awesome, but we only ever get him. And then Liverpool and Man United have got loads. They've got Keane, Neville, Carragher, and you're just like, we just need some more Blues in there. We really do. So yeah, Petr Cech, he gets in as the final winner for me. And I guess as well, Enzo, his goal sent Munoz to the shops twice. Palmer was effective, so they also get fair shout outs for myself. But losers, I've got losers, and my first is that first half, because when you end a half with an XG of 0, not a single shot in 45 minutes of football. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Don't accept something in a win that you wouldn't in a loss, because that first half was not acceptable.
It was pretty drab, to be honest. And it's very impressive to see the fact that, how often have we as Chelsea fans seen exactly that half, and it's, ended with nothing. I think, in a way, as you've touched upon, we shouldn't accept it. And I think, my thinking at halftime as well was this almost, in a way, final straw. As Chelsea fans, we've seen this game a million times before, where for the last 10, 15 years, and when we can see a team that's lost and a manager that, in a way, almost doesn't know what he's doing. But I think we need to give Poch as well his plaudits, because as drab as the first half was, he made changes. He said something. He said some words, and in the end, they worked. They worked really well. We scored after a minute. So
exactly.
That's just to play devil's advocate, because it was very, very worrying first half.
Yeah, I mean, for certain. I mean, that's why Ollie's got as one of his losers Enzo's first half. He put was horrible, gave the ball away almost every time he had it. Yeah, it was just a general awful half, And his second loser is also, funnily enough, it's mine. So we were in sync there with me and Ollie. Noni Madueke, and he got the reasoning was that he was wasteful and he was rightly hooked at half time, although it could have been anyone, but he made very little impact. And yeah, for me, he dawdled with the ball in a perilous area in the first half, and we paid the price. He got dispossessed just outside his own box, leading to Lerma's wonder goal to make it 1-0. I mean, he did show some promising moments in attack, but he was substituted at half time. And sadly, Madueke either has recently a really good game or just absolute dreadful one because of a mistake. And we need more good games from him and my man. I mean, I really, really like him. And it just wasn't his 45 minutes. It wasn't.
No, and I think that signifies, pretty much most of our team by the fact that we have a lot of young players. I think if you put Madueke into a more settled side, an Arsenal or Liverpool, this type of inconsistency, it's not the end of the world if you're a right winger who has, bags of potential, which we know Madueke has, if he doesn't pan out. But the fact that our whole team is as young as well, it really does make a difference. But as you've touched upon, I think, it was Madueke's half yesterday, and he's had some good games, but he also has, you could call it arrogance, you could call it swagger, but the fact that he wanted to, dribble and fiddle with the ball, as you said, on the edge of the area, wasn't the best look. And the fact that, Lerma just, I don't know what it is about Sellers Park, but whenever we play there are screamers, smashed it in. So I think he'll learn from it, and I think he was rightly hooked as well. So I think calling him a loser for yesterday is fair.
Yeah. Ollie's also, his final loser is Ben Chilwell, and he's put, "You're on fraud watch, buddy. His first half was diabolical. 10 out of 10 hair, 5 out of 10 footballer. Hasn't had a truly great game since 2021. Oh man, I'm gonna put. I feel like I could have that stat as well. 10 out of 10 hair, 5 out of 10 footballer. But that's fair. But
great stats. It to be fair, it's 10 out of 10 hair. You would do a lot for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It weren't another game where it wasn't the best. Wasn't the best from him, and I do feel for him because obviously he's come back from injury. And yeah, when we had Chilwell and Reece James, we were like, we've got the best two left back, right back combo in the league, and it's just not working, but for obvious injury related reasons. But I still hold out hope. But hey, we'll see. Would you look to
quick on Chilwell? Just would you look to perhaps strengthen in the summer, or
I think we definitely need competition there. That's a certain. I mean, I've seen some wild names for. I mean, Alphonso Davies, yes, top class, probably in that world class bracket of left backs, but he's coming in to be first choice. And if that is the case, I can't see Chilwell being backup. This isn't like Malo Gusto, who's come in, who's clearly not Reece James level when we signed him, and now he's growing into this player that we feel like is almost like, he's going to rival Reece. Maybe he's just above because of that reliability factor. Chilwell is very different to Davis. Davis is better. But I still feel Davis will go. He'll either sign a new deal or go to Real Madrid. I just feel that's what the story going to take. But yeah,
and you can't blame him for it, to be honest.
No, I mean, no, I really can't. But my final loser, and you brought them up. You brought them up earlier. It was the Selhurst Park DJ. He's a loser for Palace, but he's a bloody good winner for Chelsea because he flipped the script for Chelsea. Half time rolled around. The second half got that delay and he drops three little birds. It flipped the whole vibe of the game. And it's etched a song in Chelsea history. The admin on Twitter's posting about it. Conor Gallagher's talking about it. Maybe
Lee Parker as well.
It's just the vibe and the atmosphere just lifted with that song. And maybe our next big summer signing should be bringing him in as our own DJ for Stamford Bridge. But, oh man, I'm just so grateful for that DJ. I really am. We moved.
Can I bring a final loser?
Of
quickly,
course
perhaps?
you can.
Just for a discussion, I think it's been wearing the lack of Woodruff we've seen these last couple of games. I'd say.
Yeah.
Because I would rather have seen him than Sterling yesterday, and it is quite worrying that we haven't seen him. Not even get a sniff these last couple of games. Because I think there's a lot of potential, but it's almost like the same with Madueke, where he's, I don't know, fell out with Pochettino or something, but Madueke came better back from it, so I suppose it's up to Mudryk, but I think it is a bit worrying, the fact that he wasn't able to come on in a game we were chasing as well yesterday.
Yeah, the most minutes he's played this season, well, this year, is in our 4-0 win over Preston, and that was 61 minutes. Because it's...
Seriously?
Yeah, because he... Against Borough in the first leg we lost, he played 27. He only played 45 in the return second leg against Borough, 13 minutes against Villa, another 45 against Liverpool, and only 18 against Wolves. So I still feel that come the summer, I just feel that there'll be some exit. I'm not saying a permanent, but I genuinely believe a loan move would really do him well, because he needs confidence. He needs to get back to that level he was when he was, look how he was for Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League, and everyone wanted he was the next big thing. He needs his confidence back. So yeah,
we've even seen him in a Chelsea shirt be quite good in some games.
Exactly.
As well, so we have seen him with our own eyes.
He's got that talent. It's just I just feel he needs to be taken out of the Chelsea bubble, and so he can flourish and then come back and set Stamford Bridge alight with his performances again. So emoji review, I went with the bird emoji, obvious reasons. If I could have three of them, I would. Ollie went with the time, because his words, we left it fucking late, didn't we? We did. Yeah, I can't believe we went from a 1-1 to literally 3-1 so quick. It was bloody lovely, that was. I mean, what would your emoji be?
I think I would definitely start with the dog.
Oh, okay.
If I'm honest, for Gallagher, for Galladog. I think just the way that he was able to turn up and just really be the guy for us. Whenever we play at Selhurst, I think he'd be our guy. I think for my second emoji, I would there's like a finger pointing at you, and I signal that to Poch. Both the fact that you need to in a way pull yourself together, but I also think I'd give him his flowers. He's coached these last 2 games. I think he's coached 1.5. What that'd be 135 good minutes, which I think I'd take, and finally I'd have a very relieved face, because it was both a sense of relief and a sense that I was watching it with a Palace fan, and I kept saying, "We'll win this, and we actually did." So very relieved, and just the fact that we finally moved up to 10th again, just so I can sleep good at night.
It's our spot. We love that spot. Yeah,
win, lose or draw, always 10th.
Always 10th. Hopefully we'll get in that top 8. That'd be a nice way to
2 seasons, baby.
Yeah,
2 seasons.
So we'll go through the line of the week predictions from the Thursday-Friday show. And there was Jackson, Disasi, and Gilchrist. I think the Disasi one is absolutely a banger there. I really believe. I don't know who said that. I need to pull up. I'll have a look on my script from last episode, because I think it was Ollie who went with him. It was Birth went with Disasi. So that's a bloody good shout. I went with Gilchrist, who had a cameo appearance, and Chris, your line got a booking, and he's now 1 away from a 2-game suspension. So we're going to regret that so much. Oh man, we can't afford to lose another player for 2 games. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. Right. Well, it's a quick recap episode of all the games that have been. Thank you very much for your time, Bertram. I really appreciate it. Really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you for having me on, and to all the listeners, remember to follow at the Bridge Pod.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, with that, thank you for listening to this episode, everyone. Treat yourself well. We will be back on. I believe it's going to be Thursday this week, so just to get everyone around the virtual table. So till then, that will be us signing off. You've been listening to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At the Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.